This is Sandy's rocket, or the episode with Spongebob goes to space. The episode starts with Spongebob waddling his way to Sandy, just to find out that she's literally building a whole rocket outside his house. So Spongebob obviously gets hella interested. I mean, who wouldn't be? Sandy then said, "Hello, Spongebob!" Spongebob says, "Hi, Sandy!" And then she proceeds to tell Spongebob about the big ass rocket outside his house. Then she comes down to meet Spongebob. And I mean, Spongebob is just generally impressed how she managed to do this. Then she tells him that he's going to the moon. And the next minute is Spongebob begging Sandy to follow her to the moon. At last she finally gives in and lets Spongebob follow her to the moon, but on one condition: he can't touch anything. So Spongebob promises not to touch anything, which will be a bad idea, you will see Sam. Later Sandy proceeds to show Spongebob how the weapons work. And these weapons are originally designed to capture objects, but SpongeBob is way more focused on catching aliens, and I mean, I can't really blame him. Late at night, SpongeBob struggles to sleep, because I know he's going to space tomorrow. And at the exact moment when he's trying to sleep, Patrick shows up. And I mean, Patrick's never up to good, so this shit better escalate really fast. And Patrick apparently tells SpongeBob about this can of anti-alien spray that he can spray in the windows of the ship, which is weird. So they decide to go to Sandy's rocket, and Patrick's just way excited to say the least. He even pulls this weird green lever, which opens the door right on SpongeBob. When they get inside of the rocket, we can see all these flashing lights inside of the rocket. And Patrick's fast, going to grab what he thinks is a video game controller. SpongeBob really knows they shouldn't be doing this, but Patrick is so excited. And after a while, SpongeBob also gives in and plays with the rocket. And I mean, at first they doesn't really touch something that is dangerous. They just shoot each other up from the rocket and in again, and kinda shake the rocket around a little bit, until Patrick says, "Oh look, this is the start button," and SpongeBob says, "I know this is," and proceeds to click the start button to start the rocket. The noise this rocket makes, of course, wakes up Sandy. So now SpongeBob and Patrick proceeds to leave Bikini Bottom. And can we just say, there's something really creepy with this picture. I don't really know why, but yeah. SpongeBob and Patrick doesn't really seem to be worried about this. They are having the time of their lives floating around in space. But they actually never land on the moon, they circle around it and goes down to the Bikini Bottom again. And unfortunately for SpongeBob, he drops this 1000 kilograms barbell on his hand. We can also see Sandy flying up to see what Patrick and SpongeBob are doing up there. But at that time, SpongeBob and Patrick has already landed down on Bikini Bottom. But they doesn't know that, they still think they are on the moon. Then they see Gary, which SpongeBob thinks is an alien clone of the original Gary, so he proceeds to capture his own pet. I actually feel very sorry for Gary in this situation, he doesn't have a clue what's going on. Then they proceed to break down into Squidward's house, and then go up to Squidward, which they think is an alien clone of the original Squidward too. SpongeBob also finds this weird red bubbly warm sack thing, and he thinks that's an alien thing, so he freaks out. Squidward accidentally touches Patrick, which makes him scream and wakes up Squidward. And I mean, Squidward's POV of this is just scary, just two men sitting there and wiggling. Yeah. And SpongeBob and Patrick hasn't still figured this out, so they proceed to capture Squidward. And SpongeBob also does this weirdest sound, like oh, 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 goes entirely primal. We can also see Mr. Krabs walking his snake thing, and unfortunately for him, he runs into SpongeBob and Patrick, and they also try to capture him and throw them in the rocket. Now I really start to question if they really know they're on Earth or Bikini Bottom at all. Then they go to Mr. Puff's boarding school, and Mr. Puff is just so happy to have them here, like, "Oh, SpongeBob, you want to take some lessons?" Now they just capture us straight away. They also capture this weird fish, and also this random woman walking. They even capture Larry the Lobster. After a while they have captured the whole Bikini Bottom, which is just insane. When they're pressing in everybody, Sandy comes and tells them that what are they doing, they're not on the moon. But of course, SpongeBob and Patrick, being them, just captures her straight away. And then from nowhere they start getting trust issues for themselves, thinking they themselves are aliens. But Patrick just captures himself, I guess. And then the episode ends with SpongeBob flying back up to the moon and realizing that he was in the Bikini Bottom all along, and he will probably lose his job. Okay, to start with, I really think this is an interesting episode that shows a whole lot more to the Bikini Bottom than just this happy place. In this episode, the Bikini Bottom was mysterious, at least to say for SpongeBob and Patrick. The vibe was great and I really did enjoy this episode. Another theory is that SpongeBob did know that this was the Bikini Bottom, and that's when he took out all his anger on his friends, because he's always so happy. But that's just a theory, don't let it sink out hard. Thanks for watching this video about me talking about how SpongeBob did SpongeBob being the SpongeBob in the space, SpongeBob space and SpongeBob